Hello, Do Gang. I recently did a stream where I tried to get the world record in NPC multi-battle in the Emerald Battle Tower. And I figured it might be interesting to do an analysis of the stream, or at least the more interesting battles, as well as explain some of the mechanics of multi-battle with NPCs and the team that I have. So we started at 462 wins. The world record was 484. So I needed to win 3 rounds and 1 battle to tie the world record. And if I did, I wanted to push all the way to 500 during the stream. So let's have a look at our team here. The Pokemon on the left are the Pokemon that I control. Pokemon on the right are the Pokemon that the AI, my partner, will control. And usually the partner is completely random. However, I record mix with my other cartridge, and that trainer from that cartridge shows up as a partner and always has the same 2 Pokemon, but it's random which one shows up as the lead, but you can reset to get the lead you want, which is something that I'm doing. We have on my side Salamence and Metagross. These 2 are from my Do Gang doubles team, and they have some good synergy together. Mostly Metagross can switch into ice moves, and with the Lum Berry we hopefully don't get double frozen. And then Salamence can switch into ground moves and to a lesser degree fire moves, because we don't want to get burned on Salamence, but we don't always have a choice. We have Choice Band on the Salamence for a lot of immediate power. Does have some downsides. Sometimes you would really like to switch moves, but I've chosen that the increase in damage is worth it, but some other items like White Herb or a berry to prevent status could be worth considering. And we have Aerial Ace for stab and being able to hit double team spammers or bite powder, which is very high value. And the main thing, both Metagross and Salamence have Earthquake, and our partner, both Pokemon are immune to Earthquake, which is something I really wanted for this. And they both also have Brick Break, which is nice for Snorlax, Tyranitar, and that sort of stuff. And then Shadow Ball and Metagross to deal with Psychic types, because the Latios don't do that well into Psychic types. And on the right, we want Latios as the lead. This is because Latios has 4 attacks, and Latias has Calm Mind and 3 attacks, and the AI will almost always Calm Mind if it doesn't see a kill and it's at full health. And on turn 1, that's not something we want, because we want to immediately put pressure on our opponent by dealing damage. Like if Latios attacks something and I attack with Salamence, you're probably getting a kill, maybe 2. And that's something we really want. We want to get an advantage early on. And Psychic, Bolt Beam is pretty standard, good coverage, high damage. And then Waterfall is to be able to one-shot Rhydon, Golem, do good damage to Tyranitar, that sort of stuff. So that's one reason for wanting Latios in the lead. There's also another reason that we'll get to in a certain battle, but there is Switch AI for the AI, which can sometimes make them switch. And obviously we do not want Latios to set up a Calm Mind turn 1 and then switch out on turn 2 because Switch AI activated. And something important for multi-battle compared to regular doubles is just like how we have 2 Pokemon on each side, like you can only switch between the Pokemon on your side. So I can only switch between Salamence and Metagross. And the AI, while it usually doesn't switch, can only switch between the 2 Latios. But more important than switching, well, for me the switching is really important, but for our opponent it means that if we knock out 2 Pokemon on one side, we will be in a 2v1 advantage, which is obviously massive. And that is not something that happens in doubles unless they only have 1 Pokemon left, but here they could have 2 Pokemon left on the opponent's side, but only 1 on the field. And that's definitely an advantage we want to play towards as much as possible, but it's not always possible. So that's it for the team. Alright, so what we see here is the salon. Here are all the random trainers. And this is the trainer that I record mix with. And here they had Latias in the lead, so I leave again. This does not reset your streak. And I just go back until Latios is the lead, and then we go into the battle. And sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it's first try. Let's skip forward here. Latios again. And there's Latios. So then we go in and face our first opponent. And in this stream, the first opponent was immediately an interesting opponent because it was a legendary spamming trainer. There are 5 of those. There are a lot of trainers that can have legendaries, but this is a trainer that only has legendaries, or in open level, which we are in open level, can also have Tyranitar and Dragonite. And I think for this team that might make open level better, because Regice is one of the worst matchups possible, and Dragonite is one of the best matchups possible, and here we get Dragonite, so it's really good for us. There are super bulky Dragonite sets that have a small chance of surviving an Ice Beam, but pretty much always it's just a one-shot. And then Regirock is very dangerous for a bunch of reasons. Quick Claw Explosion, Counter, Curse Rest. Setup is not as dangerous in doubles because we have 2 Pokemon to attack with. Another thing that makes, there's Regice, that makes legendary spamming trainers dangerous is they have a lot of ground immune Pokemon. And one of our main strategies is using Earthquake to deal damage to both opponents. And obviously that doesn't work when one or both are immune to Earthquake. We get very lucky here, we double dodge the Rock Slide. And one of the reasons why we put double Ice Weak lead is that Salamence will bait away the ice moves from Latios most of the time. Like the stream before this stream, I changed the EVs on Latios to make it a little bit more bulky. And now Regice can never see a kill on Latios when Latios is full HP. But it always sees a kill. And there's Explosion. It always sees a kill on Salamence, regardless of HP. And that's pretty much true for most attackers with an ice move. But even if they don't see a kill, because Salamence has a quad weakness, there is a high chance the AI will target it due to some AI priority against 4 times weakness. So Explosion, usually in the doubles version, where I use Salamence Metagross, I have Explosion on my Metagross. But that's not very good here, because I want to take out 2 Pokemon on one side and not 1 Pokemon on each side, as well as I would kill my partner, unless I have like different partners, like let's say Gengar, but Gengar dies very easily. I protect here because I'm afraid of Quick Claw from this Tyranitar. And like I mentioned before, Latios, full HP, doesn't see a kill, so it goes for Calm Mind. There's Flamethrower. That does mean this could be Quick Claw. And it also has Ice Beam in that case, and this could get very uncomfortable if it Quick Claws now and it Quick Claws next turn against Salamence. And here's the first Quick Claw. Latios should be able to beat Tyranitar with the Calm Mind boost. However, we could get crit and we could get frozen because it's leftovers on Latios. And just like that, the run could end. More Calm Mind. And Tyranitar, in a way, is a really good matchup, because we have Brick Break on both Metagross and Salamence. But, like you just saw, Quick Claw, and there's also Bright Powder, there's Focus Band Counter. There are a lot of things that can go wrong with Tyranitar as well, but there's also a lot of things that can go wrong with the Regis and other legendaries, so it's probably still a better matchup. Brick Break from Metagross does not kill most of the time. I think it's a roll to kill 0 bulk Tyranitar. But still doing like 90% damage to Tyranitar is much better than having to face a Regice. Alright, we skip a battle, because there are 42 battles in this stream. And this is not necessarily going to be a super challenging battle, although these Pokemon are scary. I chose this battle to talk about a specific mechanic. Let's go back a little bit. You can see the 2 trainers here. A Pokemon Breeder on the right and a Pokemaniac on the left. In the highest difficulty in the Battle Frontier, which is starting at round 8, there are 100 trainers that can show up, and 20 of those are from round 7. And the trainers from round 7 have a 21 IV in every stat, and the other trainers have perfect IVs, so 31 in every stat. And in multi-battle, only one trainer decides which Pokemon show up. That's the trainer on the right. And that's a 21 IV trainer. However, the IVs are influenced by which slot they're in and which trainer is in that slot. So even though the trainer is a 21 IV trainer, the Pokemon in the right will be 21, but on the left they'll be 31. And the first streak I did with this team, I didn't know that, and I lost to this exact Starmie. Because 21 IV Starmie, before I changed to a slightly bulkier Latios, it was guaranteed to die to Thunderbolt. Now it's 94% or something. And normally perfect IV Starmie speed ties my Salamence, but 21 IV is slower, guaranteed. And I low rolled with Thunderbolt because Thunderbolt can kill a perfect Starmie. Offensive Starmie at least. And I lost the speed tie, and like that I lost my Salamence turn 1 and then lost my Metagross immediately and lost the streak. Luckily that was early on. This time we know for sure it's 21 IV Starmie. Snorlax is Quick Lock Curse, very dangerous Pokemon. A little bit less in doubles. I go for Earthquake because I'm afraid for that 6% chance that Starmie lives on 1 HP. But that doesn't happen. We do get the Quick Lock Curse, and this is super annoying because now Snorlax gets +1 defense before we hit the Earthquake. But in doubles, like I said, it's not as big of a deal. Because even if Snorlax kills me at some point with Quick Claw, there are 2 Pokemon. And here Typhlosion switches in on the Earthquake. Which is beautiful, free kill. And now we're in a 4 against 2, and also 2 against 1. So massive advantage to us. And for the people who are more familiar with newer gens, in Gen 3, if a Pokemon dies mid-turn in doubles, the next one switches in already. And can just die. And that's... in part it's really fun and it makes the battles really fast sometimes, but it can also ruin your streak because you lose both of your Pokemon on turn 1. And that is definitely going to happen in one of these battles, but we'll get to that later. More curses. Usually Pokemon with setup moves, it's dependent on HP. If they're high HP they really want to set up, if they're low HP they don't want to set up. But Curse is tied to defense boosts and not HP. And Kingdra switches in, which is quite nice. Kingdra is super bulky, so actually very difficult to kill in 2 attacks. And also, this Kingdra has Ice Beam, but because it's not stab and 0 investment in special attack, it does not always see the kill in Salamence. But it does usually still attack Salamence because of the 4x weakness. Alright, so we won that one. A lot of battles we don't lose any Pokemon. But here, that is not going to be the case. This is the last battle of the first round. And we're facing one of the worst possible matchups that we could ever face. Walrein Lapras. And this is really bad for a couple of reasons. So I'll pause here so I can talk about it for a bit. These Pokemon, they could both have Ice Beam and just target the Salamence. And I click Protect and we have a beautiful turn. Or they could not have an Ice move, or at least not... Like it could be Sheer Cold Walrein, but he doesn't have Ice Beam or Blizzard. And same with Lapras. Or it could be a different Lapras that just doesn't have an Oko move, but also no regular Ice moves. Like we don't know what's gonna happen. Usually, if there's one of these two, or these type of Pokemon that could have an Ice move, but it's not guaranteed, I usually try to switch in Metagross because of the risk of them just getting a free turn if I click Protect. Also because of the risk of Blizzard, which will still hit the Latios. The problem here is there are two of them. And if I switch, that is very dangerous. Especially because both of these could have Sheer Cold. And Sheer Cold, as far as I'm aware, even though it's not really a damage dealing move, it is still affected by 4 times super effective AI. So if they do have Sheer Cold, they're very likely to click it into the Salamence. And what can happen then if I switch, they one-shot Metagross, Salamence comes back out, the second Pokemon has Ice Beam, and now I lost both of my Pokemon turn 1. So that's a reason why I don't want to switch here. Of course, at the same time, they're not guaranteed to go for the Oko move into Salamence, so this could just be double Oko move into Latios, and Latias both die. But that's a much smaller chance. So there's no good play here, but Protect is a higher chance to be good. So I decide to go for Protect, and I really don't want to lose both of my Pokemon in the same turn. And another reason why Walrein Lapras are so bad is they're super bulky, so Thunderbolt doesn't two-shot them. And that is really bad, because it's gonna take a while. And of course, it is Bright Powder, and before like this move happened, I mentioned I've lost my longest single streak to Walrein 4, which is Bright Powder Walrein. I've lost my longest double streak to Walrein 4. Is it gonna happen again? And another reason why I want to stay in here and Protect is if the AI sees a kill with a regular damaging move, so Walrein 4 has Ice Beam and Sheer Cold, it will always click Ice Beam over Sheer Cold. So if I Protect and then switch, Walrein is forced to Ice Beam me 2 turns in a row, assuming Latios doesn't take damage and gets into kill range. But even then, it would Ice Beam and not Sheer Cold. So that's also why I want to stay in and Protect, so that Walrein, who has both regular Ice move and Oko move, goes for the regular Ice move. So we Protect, and of course it's Blizzard, so Latios is gonna take damage. Gets frozen, but we have a Lum Berry, so that doesn't matter yet. And in this case, we're probably gonna die before it matters. And it's double Blizzard. Pretty much worst case scenario outside of Oko moves into Latios and hitting. So that's a terrible turn 1. We missed, and we got double Blizzard, and Latios just lives on 1 HP. So now we're choice banned, so we have to switch here. And I'm really hoping Latios dodges at least 1 attack. But the Bright Powder, by the way, was on Lapras here, not on Walrein. And as you can see, we're not... This is leftovers Walrein. We are not two-shotting this Walrein. I really don't want to take damage on the Latias. Luckily, we dodge 1 Blizzard here. Metagross also dodges 1, but that doesn't really matter. And I really wanted Latios to dodge so it could Calm Mind on the next turn. Because it does not see a kill here. Wall Rain, with some leftovers. And here, I make a pretty big mistake. Wall Rain 1, which is the Blizzard one, has Protect. And due to a programming error, Protect is super high priority, especially when it hasn't been used yet. And normally, Wall Rain would always click Protect on turn 1, but because it saw a kill on Salamence, that overrode, or that got a higher priority than Protect. And because Brick Break doesn't kill anything, and Lapras has Bright Powder and don't want to miss Lapras and do absolutely nothing, I clicked Earthquake without thinking, forgetting that this Wall Rain, which would usually click Protect on turn 1, has Protect. So Brick Break into Lapras would be much better here, because Wall Rain is guaranteed to not use Blizzard. And there is some other glitch where it can click Hail instead, I'm not sure. There's a video about it from Magpie. I'm not sure how exactly that one triggers. So I should have gone for Brick Break into Lapras here for more damage. And if we miss, like, it's... Earthquake also only attacks the Lapras. It's fine. Lapras sets up Rain. Which is really awkward because now Hydro Pump can kill us. Hydro Pump in Rain from the Lapras. So I have to Protect here. Thunderbolt goes into Wall Rain. With the +1 special defense. It did see the kill now. Or +1 special attack, sorry. What is kind of nice about Lapras seeing the kill with Hydro Pump is that it won't Blizzard the Latias. Okay, Miltank, not the scariest Pokemon. It could be Counter, which is really annoying. And it could be Double Team, which could be annoying. Here I switch so I don't die to the Hydro Pump. And we also don't know if the Latios wants to attack Lapras. I wasn't sure if it saw a kill, I thought it wouldn't. It maybe did see the kill. Unfortunately, because I did not Brick Break, Lapras now survives on 1 HP. So we could have been in a much better spot if I just clicked Brick Break. Shadow Ball into the Latias. Locally we Intimidate it. And we take a Hydro Pump into Salamence. Rain continues to fall. So because of the risk of Bright Powder, I'm gonna go for an Earthquake here. In case there's the Bright Powder. Latias misses, so Lapras is already Bright Powder twice. Luckily, we do hit the Earthquake. However, there's gonna be some more bad luck for us. It's gonna be a second Shadow Ball into the Latias. And that is going to get us Spadef Drop. And here, Ludicolo. I'm afraid of Ice Beam. Plus I'm locked into Earthquake. I have to switch out. I need Aerial Ace to kill this. Especially if it's 3 or 4, which is Double Team Leech Seed. And of course, it is Swift Swim Ludicolo with Ice Beam. It's 50% which ability they have. And because of the Spadef drop, Latias dies. Otherwise, Latias would have lived. So that's very unfortunate. Luckily, the rain stops. And now I have to Earthquake here. Because Aerial Ace is not a guaranteed kill into Ludicolo. And I obviously can't let it Ice Beam me. So it's Reversal Miltank. And Ludicolo also has Fire Punch. And now we are the ones in a 1v2. which is obviously not a situation we ever want to be in. At least the mill tank has been double intimidated, so that's nice, but obviously if we get crit by this mill tank, we're in trouble. It is also Salamence Berry, so it is now quite fast. But Ludicolo guaranteed one-shots us, so we're gonna kill the Ludicolo and hope for the best. And luckily for us, Miltank has just a little bit too much HP, which makes it use Endure so it can get full power reversal. Which is very lucky for us because that means that's one crit chance gone. Unfortunately, Miltank does get the double Endure, which is 50% to fail, just like Protect in Gen 3 if you use it multiple times. We get a crit, but yeah, that doesn't matter against Endure. So now we just need to dodge one crit. And we just used up the crit RNG, so surely it won't crit, and it doesn't. But that was extremely close. That could have ended our streak right there. Alright, on to the next one. This is the next round. This is a Ranger. And I know from this Ranger which set this is. This is set 2. Unfortunately for me, I do forget something about set 2 Ursaring. And that is that it is counter. And part of this is, if this was doubles and I controlled both Pokemon here, I would Earthquake Psychic the Ursaring. Ursaring would not get to move unless it Quick Claws. It is Quick Claw counter, which is part of why I keep forgetting it. Because I've definitely gotten countered by this before. Usually counter sets have Focus Band, but not always. But yeah, it's easy to forget that this has counter. So I just want to deal... Ursaring, really powerful Pokemon, really dangerous. I need to deal damage to it. Snorlax, really powerful Pokemon. I need to deal damage to it, so Earthquake is the obvious answer. But I forgot about the counter. And counter, just like Protect, programming error. Counter is very likely to be used against Pokemon that are a special typing. And because Latios is a double special typing, I think that increases the chances here, even in doubles. Like in singles it would be almost guaranteed to click counter. In doubles or multi, I'm not as sure how it works, but I think it still has a chance to get increased priority. So turn 1 we lose Salamence, that's not good. But at least Latios sees a kill on Ursaring here, so it will go for the kill. So Psychic kills Ursaring. And I really want this Snorlax gone, because Snorlax 2 has rest. In comes Satu, that's not a problem. And unfortunately Snorlax survives on 1 HP, goes for the rest. And now we're facing a very bulky Snorlax. Luckily for us, Satu is very easy to kill. And we're in a 2v1 once Satu goes down. So Latios goes to kill Satu here. And I just want to deal as much damage as possible. Unfortunately, the Satu does survive. There are some Satus that are always a one-shot. It's not this Satu, and I probably should have targeted the Satu because I did not consider that it would use Fly, and now Latios is obsessed with killing the Satu. But because Latios is faster, it's just gonna miss. There you go. So now we did nothing. Snorlax is setting up more. And this is getting a little bit scary. especially because the Snorlax has Earthquake. And I will die to the next hit, and Brick Break obviously does not kill the Snorlax from here, unless I crit. So I'm forced to protect. The Xatu will finally go down. Then next turn, we will both get to attack the Snorlax. But we probably won't kill. And that means that once again, it's the AI against the AI. And we just have to sit and watch. And I mean, surely full HP Latios and Latias should be able to beat one Pokemon, right? Especially from this Ranger who cannot have something like a Regice. But you never know. So we just have to wait. Latios takes down the Snorlax. And it's Duck Trio. Not a problem. We are EV'd on the Latios and the Latias to outspeed base 120s, Duck Trio and Sceptile. So luckily we make it through. But that was scary again. Not as scary as the Lapras Walrein battle, but not ideal. And this time we're not skipping a bunch of battles, we're just going to the next one, which is against the Psychic Trainer. Psychic Trainers are quite scary for a bunch of reasons. The Psychic Trainers can have legendaries, like each Psychic Trainer. There's a male and female version that has a legendary trio for each trio. And here we get Raikou, Metagross. Two very dangerous Pokemon, but in this situation together, it's just an almost free Earthquake. It could go wrong. Metagross could Quick Claw crit me. Raikou and Metagross can both have Bright Powder. Like only one of them can have it at a time, but they both have a set with Bright Powder. And the Bright Powder Metagross set has Ice Punch and would one-shot Salamence. Raikou is also speed tied with Salamence. And Metagross can also just survive Earthquake. It's quite likely. So we would have preferred Latios to Thunderbolt the Metagross, and in regular doubles that's what I would do. And we would just easily kill the Metagross, but here it survives. But it's not Ice Punch, so that helps. And now Alakazam, also a scary Pokemon, because there are two sets with the elemental punches, and one of those is Bright Powder, the other one is Focus Band. So definitely scary. I switch out Salamence here because if it's Bright Powder, I want to be able to Aerial Ace it later. Latios always goes for the kill on Metagross. And then in comes Mr. Mime, who also has a Bright Powder set with Thunderbolt, Ice Punch, Fire Punch, Psychic. So potentially two very dangerous Pokemon, but it could also be... Well, we saw the Punch from Alakazam, so it's guaranteed Focus Band or Bright Powder. And I don't know which one yet. Okay, we hit the Ice Beam, so if we miss, then at least Aerial Ace is guaranteed to kill at this point. Alakazam did not see a kill with Fire Punch, so it randomly selected Latios as the target. Then went for Ice Punch. We kill Alakazam. Crit definitely not needed. And turns out it's Trick Mr. Mime and gives my Metagross a Choice Band. So we were not in any danger here. And there are a lot of battles like this where there are really scary looking Pokemon, but the battle isn't that scary. But you don't necessarily know that. Sometimes like you face legendary Pokemon and they're just really easy to beat no matter what. But in this case, like there were a lot of things that could have gone wrong depending on which item they had and do they activate the item. And the next battle is against another legendary spammer. Ranger Nelson here. And this is also going to be a bit of an example of a battle that looks like intimidating Pokemon, but the battle itself was not that difficult. We have a Suicune and Dragonite again shows up, so this is going to be another Ice Beam into Dragonite situation. And Dragonite can be scary. I've been hit by Quick Claw Blizzards from Dragonite, but that doesn't kill Salamence. Because in Gen 3, spread damage is reduced by 50%, and it's not stab. So we could actually survive that. Of course, there's also Bright Powder Dragonite, I'm pretty sure, which could be annoying for the Ice Beam, because then we just waste a turn. But nothing of that happens this time. And Suicune, very likely to Ice Beam, but not guaranteed, they don't all have Ice Beam. And in comes a Latios. And that's definitely a Pokemon we want to get rid of. So we will be Shadow Balling. And we get lucky here that Latios also wants to get rid of the opposing Latios. Because could have targeted both Pokemon. It's the fast Latios. There's only one Latios and one Latias that have speed, and those outspeed my Metagross. Otherwise, I would outspeed. It's also a fast Suicune that sets up Reflect, but Latios is already very low, so we just kill. And the nice thing about having Brick Break, it's not affected by Reflect and removes it. It also removes Light Screen. Latios goes for Thunderbolt. And with going for Brick Break, there won't be a Reflect up against the next Pokemon. Latios goes down to Ice Beam. That's all fine. There goes the Reflect. Latias is gonna see the kill, so it's not gonna call Mind. Except we got a crit, so there was no kill to get. And then last Pokemon is Articuno, which is a very scary Pokemon, but because it's the last Pokemon, it's not. So there's some dangerous Pokemon on this team, but because it was Dragonite in the lead, and then we killed the Latios so easily, it turned into a really easy battle. But it could have been much worse if Latios didn't target the opponent Latios, for example. It could have been much harder. And it's a Blizzard. It's not going to deal much damage. Especially if it doesn't hit. This is double team leftovers, which can be really scary. But because we have Aerial Ace in the back and Blizzard is only 5 PP, even if we missed every attack, we would probably still easily win. But that's not what happens. And we can move on to the next battle, which, again, we're not skipping anything, I think. Oh yeah, this battle. This is very, very funny. Okay, so this is a 21 IV trainer set 4 on the right side and a perfect IV trainer on the left. Which doesn't matter too much for this battle. But this Scizor is Bright Powder, Swords Dance, Agility, Silverwind. So it's a bit dangerous because once it gets a boost, it will one-shot the Latios. I'm not sure if it's 100% to one-shot Latias at +1, but it's definitely one-shotting Latios. Unfortunately, Latias loves going for Waterfall into Flame Body Pokemon. So we get burned, which probably doesn't really matter, but I would have really liked to get some damage on this Scizor. And in comes Muck, and I know this is Quick Claw Explosion. The funny thing is, like, we see the Muck come in, and I say, I don't know if Muck can click Explosion here, because usually, if it's the last Pokemon that a trainer has, they cannot click Explosion unless you are also down to your last Pokemon, or they're like out of different moves that they can click. If you PP stall them out of every move, of course, eventually they have to click Explosion. So in doubles, I know that if there are 2 Pokemon left, even though they are both like last Pokemon and they kill their other Pokemon with Explosion, they can kill Click Explosion. But in multi-battle, there's more than 1 Pokemon left. However, it's the last Pokemon of the trainer on the right, so can Explosion happen? I haven't seen it yet, I don't know. But I'm very curious if it can happen. And of course, Quick Claw Explosion is gonna happen. And this is actually very terrifying. Because I wouldn't mind so much if it wasn't next to a Swords Dance Bright Powder Pokemon. Like, this could be Bright Powder, and then Scizor Silver wins Latias, and Latias is just gone. And we only have Metagross left all of a sudden. Luckily for us, Bright Powder does not activate. But that was very scary. And also very funny that, of course, during this stream, we would finally discover that they can explode with their last Pokemon. Alright, surely Metagross Latias wins. And it's a Tentacruel, so yes, we do win. Not too many issues here. Can just skip. Latios went for a Calm Mind because Tentacruel has base 120 special defense, so even Latios does not see a kill or not always see a kill. Alright, on to the next battle. And that will be against a Picnicker, which is basically the same as a Camper. Also a set for 21 IV Trainer. And we see the Slowbro, and Slowbro 4 means Quick Claw Ice Beam. And Quick Claw Ice Beam is obviously very scary. Like, Salamence can be one-shot here. Latios could be crit. Against Latias, could be a crit. Doesn't kill with the crit, but could freeze me. Also very scary. So we're gonna go for the Protect. We don't switch immediately because I want Slowbro to Ice Beam me again next turn. We also get the kill on the Golduck, which is very nice here. And that's thanks to 21 IVs. In comes Ampharos. Now we have to switch. Psychic into Ampharos. I would prefer a Thunderbolt into the Slowbro. But it's fine. His next turn, of course, Ice Beam could be going into the Latios. And we would rather not have that happen. Okay, so Latios is gonna kill the Ampharos. And we're gonna Shadow Ball the Slowbro. No Quick Claw. Not this time at least. But there are plenty of Quick Claw Ice Beams that have happened over these many battles. There goes an Ice Beam into the Latios. And now the next one, if it Quick Claws, will kill me. So So I'm definitely going for Shadow Ball instead of, let's say, I'm afraid of Snorlax in the back, so I Brick Break, but because it could be a kill, I have to Shadow Ball. A kill from the Slowbro, but Quick Claw onto Latios, I mean. And out comes Tauros, so we do nothing. But this is Bright Powder, but we still have all our Pokemon. There's no way Tauros is beating us. And we don't miss. So it goes down. Alright, we're up against another Psychic type. We skipped one battle. And there's a Registeel. Luckily next to a Xatu, so that's not that scary. Like, one of the big issues with Psychic type trainers is that the Latios just don't deal that much damage to, let's say, a Gardevoir or a Metagross or some other Psychic that doesn't have a secondary typing that we can deal super effective damage to. But luckily it's Xatu, so we get a pretty big advantage here. But Registeel is very scary. This could be counter and then Quick Claw Explosion. And there's a Gardevoir. Does not trace Levitate, which is nice for us. But it's a double team Registeel. There are two of them. They have leftovers. Very scary. But at least in doubles, it's not as scary. I decide I want to take out the Gardevoir first because they could be Ice Punch, Fire Punch. And I would really like to be against it in a 2v1 situation here. It's a Calm Mind Gardevoir. More double teams. And I think the Gardevoir Quick Claw there. Might move first. And because it didn't trace Levitate, we can Earthquake. Kill the Gardevoir. And hope we deal damage to Registeel. Because once we hit it once, it's less likely to double team. We hit it there. Very nice for us. Still uses double team this turn, so is that like +3 or something. Not great for us, but we're in a 2v1. We have pretty strong attackers. We're probably fine. And I also have Aerial Ace in the back. However, it could be Thunder Wave Registeel. But in this case, I think it doesn't have Thunder Wave. Maybe it does, I don't quite remember. But basically, Thunder Wave kind of stops the Aerial Ace part on one of them because it's like substitute Thunder Wave. I think this one has substitute probably. So Aerial Ace, because you deal no damage, like we would stop the Focus Punch, but we also deal no damage. So it's not super useful. Trying to figure out, do I want to switch to get either the Aerial Ace or the Choice Band damage from Earthquake? But I decide to stay in and hopefully we kill eventually. At least Focus Punch is not very strong, especially from a Registeel. Like Focus Punch is very strong, but not from Registeel. It's not a Machamp, which also exists. And as long as one of us hits, it doesn't deal any damage to us, so let's just skip ahead. Eventually, Registeel goes down. In comes Metagross, which on its own is not very scary, so we just take it out. And then the next battle is gonna be a Bug Maniac. And Bug Maniacs are extremely dangerous trainers. Like, you might think, well, bugs are not that scary. Well, on average, maybe not, but when you select only the strongest bugs, they are very scary, and there are not that many bugs that can be selected, and a lot of them are very strong. So Bug Maniacs are very, very scary, especially when it's Heracross, and it's gonna be Heracross. And of course, Scizor also makes its return. So Heracross is extremely scary because, of course, it has Mega Horn, which easily one-shots the Latios. Or at least easily one-shots Latios. There's one Heracross that when intimidated does not one-shot Latias. But the issues are with Heracross, one of them can survive Psychic, one of them has Bright Powder, one of them has Focus Band. So I have to Air Lace here, because there's a bunch of chances that it can survive. In comes Armaldo, another one of the scariest bugs. There's Choice Band, there's Quick Claw, especially Quick Claw Swords Dance. Scissor reveals Counter, which is of course very scary as well, because I can't just die to Counter. But here, if Armaldo dies, we're in such a big advantage that I'm fine with tanking a counter here. And Armaldo does die to the waterfall. And we go for Aerial Ace. We get countered. We don't die. If we had clicked Earthquake, we would die. I mean, it would have been a turn 1. I obviously can't switch moves here. This is Quick Attack Scizor. It's very easy to forget, but if I didn't switch her, I would die. There are a few Pokemon. There's a Raikou with Quick Attack. I don't remember any others. There might be another one somewhere. But that can really catch you off guard. Random Quick Attack Pokemon. We don't die. And Scizor just goes down. And it turned out to not be that scary of a battle. Again. But it could have been. Like, if that was a Swords Dance Scizor or something, like, that could have been really scary. Fortress could have been Quick Claw Explosion or Focus Band Explosion, but because it's last mon, and it also turned out to be the Protect set, that doesn't matter. We didn't have any Quick Claw Rock Slide flinches from Armaldo or anything like that. Or Focus Band from Heracross. Or Bright Powder from Heracross. Or just being the Heracross that can survive Psychic. Like, in that case, Armaldo would have been full HP, and then maybe Latios doesn't target the Armaldo. Alright, now we're skipping ahead. This is the battle for the world record to tie. And Pokefan is also a set for 21 IV Trainer. And this means it's Double Team, Curse, Milk Drink, Double Edge, Miltank. And it's super fast Jolteon. I mean, we really just want an Earthquake here. It's a little bit scary because Jolteon outspeeds. Kills me with a crit, or he could paralyze me with either Thunder Wave or just Thunderbolt getting the paralysis. But I don't really have a way of playing around this, so I just Earthquake and hope we don't get super unlucky. We don't get crit, we don't get paralyzed. And we get Psychic, Earthquake into Miltank. And Jolteon obviously also doesn't like Earthquake. And for once, Latios did target the Pokemon I wanted it to target. So both of them go down. In comes Quagsire, who has Ice Beam. And Delcatty, who has Quick Claw Ice Beam. Like, Delcatty? You think, like, what could Delcatty possibly do? Like, it's so weak. Its base stats are, like, 65 or something. Around there. In every stat, I think. But here comes the Quick Claw Ice Beam that totally would have killed me. Even at, like, max HP, it's a chance to one-shot Salamence. If I'm full HP. And I obviously wasn't. We tank 2 Ice Beams. And there's gonna be another Quick Claw Ice Beam. Into Latios. I think it's very funny we got to show this off for world record. Like Delcatty, only the Pokefans can have Delcatty in these rounds. But it's actually quite a scary Pokemon when it decides to Quick Claw. But at least it's easy to kill. And it doesn't kill Latios with a crit. So it's really not that bad, but in the wrong situation, it can actually mess you up. Yeah, we just attack the Quagsire, and Quagsire goes down, and we now tie the world record. So let's go on to the next battle to get solo world record. And this is against a hiker. Hikers are really scary. Mostly because they have a bunch of Quick Claw explosion Pokemon. They have a bunch of hard to kill Pokemon. Just Quick Claw in general. Marowak is extremely powerful. Latios is not guaranteed to see a kill here into the Marowak. So it could just attack Armaldo. And that was Protect Armaldo, which is the least scary set. But if Latios just decides to attack into the Protect, then we have a problem. Does go for the Ice Beam into Marowak, luckily, and Earthquake just kills. And Earthquake Waterfall would also kill Armaldo, so as long as it didn't Quick Claw flinch, we would have gotten a kill. Here comes Rhydon. That means guaranteed Quick Claw. Could one-shot Latios here with Mega Horn if it has it. Otherwise, it could Horn Drill. Either of my Pokemon kill it if it has Horn Drill. No Quick Claw, Waterfall guaranteed kill. Which makes my life a lot easier here. Because Rhydon is just so scary. And it survives Earthquake, even with Choice Band. It's super bulky. And obviously Metagross doesn't like Earthquake either, although the AI isn't always super likely to click it, because it doesn't want Earthquake next to some of its partners. And now we just attack. Okay, Protect, nothing happens. Doesn't have Quick Claw. Eventually goes down. And in comes Cradily. Cradily can be scary because it has Mirror Coat. And Latios wants to Ice Beam it for a lot of damage and then just dies to Mirror Coat. That happens sometimes. But here it's last mon, so we don't have to worry. And we just kill it. And now we're in sole possession of the world record. For the longest NPC multi-battle streak. I mean, also the longest on stream. Right, onto another expert. And these are dangerous because experts only have a limited selection of Pokemon they can pick from. And they're almost all really good. And they can all have the Regis, which we do not like facing the Regis. We also see another Marowak, which is scary. Tyranitar, if it has Ice Beam, can one-shot me. He could Quick Claw Ice Beam me. But I really need to get some damage here. And Latios decides it wants to kill the T-Tar, which is fine. Earthquake lands, that's gonna kill. The Earthquake would secure a kill on any Pokemon here. I mean, Marowak could just die to Ice Beam. Yeah, Earthquake's always a good result here. In comes a Metagross. Very dangerous. And it's Icy Wind Marowak. So now it's kind of awkward because we're speed tied with a bunch of Metagrosses at -1. And I mean, it could just be really bad here. But at least Marowak should die to Ice Beam here. And then, like, even if we get Ice Punched by Metagross, but the Ice Punch ones don't have any speed. So they would still be slower than me, but it could be Bright Powder. But at this point, we're very far ahead. But it was not any of that. It's another explosion. Like, 2 times in one stream, we see explosion on last mon in a slot. Like, from never seeing it in over 400, almost 500 battles, to it happening twice in the same stream. And this was either Quick Claw activating on a Metagross that speed ties Salamence, or a bit more likely it's the fastest, it's Jolly Metagross, which also has Explosion. And in both cases it was full health Explosion, which is very unlikely. That's very funny. And the Marowak has Thick Club, so it can never dodge. And now we're in a 2v1. And Registeel comes back. And for a second I was like, oh no, what if it's counter Explosion? Like it kills Metagross with counter, and then it's last mon against last mon, so Explosion is possible again. But no, that set has Quick Claw, and Explosion Metagross has Quick Claw. So I'm safe to just attack. It cannot counter me. There's only one counter Registeel. And it's Aerial Ace. Dealing literally no damage. So yeah, it turned out last mon is not an issue. Actually, in an earlier stream, like quite a few streams ago, like I think we were around 200 wins, there was a double team Registeel, and Tyranitar had also set up the sand. And that was actually scary, because if I miss too many times, I just lose to the sand damage. But that's not what's happening here. So eventually Registeel goes down. And we're going on to battle 490. Another expert. And here we're gonna be able to see Switch AI not on the opponent, but on my partner. And remember when I mentioned we don't want to set up Calm Minds and then switch out? Because in the early rounds, I didn't care about who the lead was, and that has happened before. Like the early rounds, opponents are weaker, like we don't care if Latios is the lead and Calm Minds turn 1. But it can go for Switch AI. Okay, Latios decides to be very smart and Psychic the Blissey instead of Thunderbolting the Wailord. Wailord reveals Double Team, and this means that it is Hydro Pump, Fissure, Double Team Rest, Wailord. So now I'm in here with Metagross, I'm like, I don't want to be fissured. This is a problem. And Blissey's just gonna be around and be annoying. Because Latios is not killing. And it wouldn't be the first time that Latios hyper focuses on special defensive wall and just achieves nothing for many turns, while we are completely reliant on Latios dealing damage for us. Thunderbolt, of course, misses. We switch in on Hydro Pump. The reason I switched out turn 1 is because Blissey can have an ice move, Wailord can have an ice move. In this case they didn't. But I did not want to stay in. And I also didn't feel like protecting. And here I decided I would rather get rid of this Blissey. Like Sing's quite annoying. Wailord isn't really achieving anything, like it can't fissure me with these Pokemon in. Hydro Pump doesn't deal that much damage. It's full HP, so it just wants to double team up anyway. The only threat at the moment is the Blissey. And goes for another Sing, of course does not miss. So now we just try to kill the Blissey, go for Brick Break. Does not die. I think that was a roll. We did not get the roll. Seismic Toss. Is a bit dangerous. Does 100 damage every time. That is why we wanted to get rid of this Blissey first, because it's gonna add up. Like especially if you get put to sleep. If it decides to click Seismic Toss a couple of times, suddenly you've lost a bunch of HP. So in comes Umbreon. And because the Blissey had leftovers, this is guaranteed Bright Powder Umbreon, which is not ideal. Because obviously we could be missing the Brick Break here. Luckily we do not. And it's Attract. And this Umbreon actually has a bugged moveset. Like, the AI with part of the moveset is bugged. It has Swagger Psych Up, but for some reason, when those two moves are combined, Swagger cannot be clicked. Except for some rare situations. So it can only click Attract, or in this situation now, it can only click Shadow Ball, because there's nobody to attract. But now we're in the awkward spot where Wailord could just fissure Metagross, but at this point it doesn't matter that much anymore. But it's not like I want to get fissured. Latios finally wakes up. Somehow saw Waterfall as its best move, despite Ice Beam and Thunderbolt both being much stronger. But sometimes that's how it goes. And Hydro Pump into the Latios. And is this where Switch Eye activates? No, not yet. This time does see Thunderbolt. Gets a crit. Makes up for clicking Waterfall before, I guess. Actually hit Brick Break. Fissure misses. Let's just skip ahead a bit. Missed. I think it went for Fissure again. I decided not to break. There's Hydro Pump. I think now Switch AI activates. So even though Latios sees the kill here, obviously, and it has Thunderbolt, it still decides to switch in Latias. Even though Latias is basically the same Pokemon that also has Thunderbolt. It's very interesting how Switch AI can work. So for Switch AI, the Pokemon switching out needs to be faster, and then the Pokemon switching in needs to resist the move and have a super effective move, or needs to have an immunity, or like Volt Absorb, that sort of stuff. And I think then you don't need a super effective move. But to be honest, it's kind of nice here, because this just means because Wailord went for rest, Latios just gets the setup. Except Latios only wanted the one Calm Mind. Right, eventually Wailord goes down. I switch in Aerial Ace. I just thought it was interesting to show off Switch AI, because it does not necessarily make sense. Also, Registeel's back again. Because why not? A lot of Registeel. It's another Aerial Ace. We take it down eventually. Alright. On to battle 493. Another expert. Double expert. And we see another Marowak and our favorite Pokemon, Regice! We really hate Regice because it's really difficult to kill. It does a lot of damage with ice moves, obviously. There is a Blizzard Bright Powder set, which is just really awkward. And we switch because we're afraid of the Blizzard set. Latios goes for the Ice Beam, which is really good for us. Like, it could Psychic Regice, it would deal some damage, but Regice has base 200 special defense, so obviously it would not do that much. Ice Beam was guaranteed into Salamence. Or, yeah, Salamence, so we switched into Metagross. Here I tried to figure out which Regice it was by looking at how much damage it did. Because there's a counter Regice, and counter Regice has a little bit less special attack. Unfortunately, it either high rolled with that set or it low rolled with the max special attack set, and I didn't know which one it was, so we could die to counter here. And Scizor, of course, is also very scary. It is Metal Claw, which is counter Scizor, but it decided not to counter. And then Ice Beam. And now I'm like, well, surely now I can figure out which Regice it is. And once again, it does the amount of damage where you don't know. Except the counter Regice has leftover, so I do know. But it was very funny that it low rolled twice in a row. So I didn't know which set it was. And there we have it. Quick Attack is back. This time actually gets a kill because the AI doesn't switch. Yeah, go for Earthquake here because Brick Break does not kill the Regice. And I want to get some damage on the Scizor, so it becomes kill range. And now Latios could try to kill either one of them. At least I think it probably is capable of seeing a kill on Regice. So we're just gonna Earthquake because we don't know who is dying here. And we definitely want both of them to die. Scizor is the one dying. Obviously Regice dying would be better because then whatever switches in might also get a hit from Earthquake. Unless it's ground immune, of course. And Registeel's back. Once more. Was this the Curse Registeel or was that a different one? I think this might be a kind of awkward matchup. I'm remembering. Maybe not. Oh, it's the counter explosion one, that's it. But because it's last Pokemon, it can't explode. But it's it could have been awkward if it could survive a hit from Salamence and kill me with counter, then it could explode on Latios, but that doesn't happen. So eventually this goes down. And okay, we're up. We're skipping one match, going to 495. We're up against Swimmer Pedro. This is another 21 IV set 4 trainer, which is every trainer that can show up in round 7 is set 4, 21. Every trainer that can show up in round 7 that also shows up in the highest round, I mean. That means this is Blissey 4. Blissey 4 is an extremely awkward Pokemon for my team. Because it has counter, it has Ice Beam, it has Focus Bent, Soft Boiled, and it has Calm Mind. It is extremely awkward. Okay, Fake Out from Hariyama. It's kind of nice. Because, of course, we get the Psychic into the Blissey again. Latios is very smart. Blissey goes for Calm Mind. Did not decide to Ice Beam me, did not decide to counter. This is a pretty bad first turn for us. And now if I Earthquake and hit Blissey, or I Brick Break and I hit Blissey, counter would just kill me. And that's obviously really bad. So I decide to kill Hariyama first. This time Psychic does go into Hariyama, does not find the kill, but Brick Break finishes it off. And in comes the Slacking. Ice Beam goes into Latios. That's another pretty bad turn for us. Freeze doesn't matter because of Lum Berry. Slacking 4 is special Slacking, so it's definitely Ice Beaming. Let's just skip. I Brick Break. Slacking. It looks like Latios very smartly decided to Psychic the Blissey again. Ice Beam kills. So we're down to Latias, and Blissey decided to counter. And now we just want to kill the Slacking first, and then we only have to worry about the Blissey. But what makes the Blissey so awkward is I don't quite deal enough damage to kill the Blissey with Brick Break. And because of Latias, it really wants to click counter. And obviously I don't really want to die. But I don't really have a choice. I need to deal damage to Blissey because if I just... Like what I could do is I could protect or get Shadow Ball. And then I would not deal any damage. But Blissey can just click Calm Mind. And get a free boost and eventually get out of hand. So here I just have to attack. We get countered so we die. And now we just really hope it doesn't activate Focus Band and gets a soft boiled. Or kills Salamence. And then gets another Focus Band and soft boils. That's a real issue here. Like without any boost, Blissey doesn't guarantee kill, or I think never kills maybe. Salamence without a crit. Could freeze me of course as well. But it's already gotten a boost, so it's definitely killing me. But yeah, it could Focus Band there. Kill Salamence, Focus Band against next turn. Go for soft boiled, and now Latias almost can't beat the Blissey anymore. And because we have 2 physical attackers on one side, 2 special attackers on the other side, I can never have 2 physical attackers to just kill the Blissey. There's always gonna be some risk. Luckily, no Focus Band shenanigans this time. Alright, it's time for another very interesting battle. Fisherman is a water type specialist, could be any set here. Which is scary because there is Quick Claw, Fissure, Ice Beam, Wishcash. And Starmie, and obviously also have Ice Beam. So if it's offensive Starmie, Latias is extremely likely to target Starmie because it has a chance to one-shot. But here it decides to attack the Wishcash. It is not Ice Beam Wishcash. But it is Fissure Surf, I think, with Rest Sleep Talk. And that's very bulky, and Latios once again decides, why not attack Wishcash? Yeah, why not? And then Wishcash decides, I'm just gonna rest. So Latios achieved absolutely nothing. Great job. And now I don't really want to get fissured here. And I kind of want to bait Ice Beam with Salamence again. So I'm like, well, Starmie shouldn't really click Ice Beam into Metagross, right? Like it's probably gonna Thunderbolt or Surf if it wants to hit me. Turns out that's not what happens. Like I was kind of thinking, oh, this is probably like a bulkier Starmie or something. I don't have every Starmie set memorized, because there's 8 of them. I roughly know what they are. I did not realize there is a Psychic Ice Beam Starmie, and Psychic is less damage into Metagross, so it Ice Beamed me. Great. I switched into Ice Beam. And another reason, like, this is really unlucky. Like, not only is it specifically this Starmie, like, it took 3 turns for Latios to decide to target a Pokemon it could potentially one-shot. And then when it does attack, it doesn't get the one-shot. To be fair, it was only 43% without crit chance to kill, so okay. Fair enough, you don't get the kill. This Starmie did not see any kills on this turn when it still had Metagross in. It has the move Cosmic Power, a boosting move, and it's full HP, so it's really likely to click the boosting move. It did not, and then it randomly between Metagross and Latios, 50-50 onto Metagross, and I switched it to Ice Beam. This was extremely unlucky. But if I had looked at the Starmie sets, I could have figured out that it could have maybe Ice Beamed me. And of course, we switch into Fissure, and it hits. So now we're in a 4 against 2 and I don't get to control anything. This has not gone well. The upside is Starmie is in one-shot is in kill range now. It is Bright Powder Starmie. This could have been a little bit scary, but not too scary. Wishcash at least can't really touch the Latios. In comes Octillery. If Latios targets Octillery and it's gonna be double Lati against double water in a 1v1, that's probably fine. Luckily, Octillery gets targeted by Thunderbolt immediately. More Surfs, which do nothing. Thunderwave. Still have the Lum, right? Yes. So now it's just Latios against Wishcash. Well, next turn it is. You can skip there. And that's okay. Psychic kills in 3 hits. So Rest doesn't out-heal the damage. You can just skip. We get a crit, so that saves us a couple of turns. And last mon, Mantine! Very happy to see Mantine here. Like, if that was a Lapras or a Walrein, I'm very scared. Especially after the Lapras Walrein trauma from the first round. Luckily that did not happen. Octillery and Mantine usually don't show up in the highest rounds, but because this is a type specialist, they can bring some Pokemon that usually don't show up. Just like how Delcatty can still show up on Pokefans. Okay, this is battle 504. This is the last battle of the last round from this stream. Aroma Ladies are grass psychic types. We see Slowbro. We don't know if this is Quick Claw or not. It is scary. Like I mentioned before, Cradily with Mirror Coat could kill Latios here. But I also don't want to die to Quick Claw Ice Beam. So I decide to switch here. And it is Quick Claw Slowbro, but it's Slowbro free, which is Shadow Ball. And actually I lost by double streak to this Slowbro. Together with Walrein 4. Because it Quick Claw crit me. Plus Walrein hit Sheer Cold, 1 out of 1. Plus Bright Powder, and yeah. Okay. There's the Quick Claw Shadow Ball. That won't crit my Latios in the double streak to kill me. Latios sees the kill. And I'm more afraid of Psychic type, so I decided to Shadow Ball. And in comes the Starmie. Like even though... I mean, it could have been... No, because it's Slowbro free, Quick Claw crit would not have killed from here. But I figured this Cradily is not that big of an issue. So... And here I go for Earthquake because it could be Bright Powder Starmie. Brick Break would obviously deal more damage to Cradily. But if I miss, I still want to kill. Or at least have another chance to kill the Starmie. More Ancient Powers. No Omni Boost. Not that it really matters here. And I figured in case Ice Beam kills, I probably just want to Shadow Ball again. Potentially hit whatever's in the back. Ice Beam did not kill. Hit the kill. In comes Gardevoir. And there was a very, very, very small chance that Bright Powder Gardevoir could pull off a reverse sweep. But it can't. After getting like hit once by Thunderbolt, I think Aerial Ace always kills. Reveals Double Team. Like Double Team Rest Gardevoir exists, so I just want to switch to Aerial Ace. but Ice Beam hits. And that's 504 wins. Crazy streak, especially with multi-battle where we just have one random partner that so many times clicks the wrong move. Or targets the wrong Pokemon. Somehow this streak is still alive. And yeah, that's where it is now. I'm of course planning to continue this streak because it is still alive. Currently the plan is to stream it on the weekends as long as it's alive. So if you're watching this, that might still be going on. Or I might have lost Battle 505. Both could have happened. We could have been... Like, even if you watch this much later, the streak might still be alive. Probably not. Like, I don't expect this to go on for very long, but you never know. Multi-battle... A lot of the battles you win really hard, but the bad battles where something goes wrong, they are way worse to win than regular doubles. So a lot of the battles are kind of free. But yeah, I think doubles in general should be much easier to get a long streak in. However, this is almost beating my PB in regular doubles, which is 557. So yeah, maybe this will become my longest streak soon. We will see. So yeah, if you're interested, maybe check out the stream. I will link the original stream, also the playlist of this entire streak in the description. But yeah, let me know what you think. Was this interesting at all? Like, I don't know. This is the first time I've done this quite like this. And maybe I'll do this in the future again. I mean, I definitely plan on making like a big video about some of my longer streaks, like this streak. But that will be a bit different than this. But yeah, maybe I'll do more of these stream analysis videos. I thought this was a pretty good stream because, I mean, obviously you don't get the world record very often. I mean, technically every win now is a new world record, so I'm getting it very often. But you know, you don't get become the new world record holder very often in any streak. This is the first time that has happened for me, so that was very exciting. Like, I was very stressed and nervous while playing this stream. Not every play was the best because of that. But there were also just a lot of interesting battles. Like, some of them obviously very exciting, very close, like the Walrein Lapras battle, the Starmie Whiscash battle. But there were also just a lot of good battles to explain some mechanics and matchups. And it doesn't always happen. Like the stream before this, I think I did 4 or 5 rounds, and there were 0 close battles. Like, the only interesting battle I wrote down was a Regice that did absolutely nothing. Like, it double missed Blizzard, then set up Rain so my Latios could kill the Tyranitar with Waterfall, which it otherwise would not have. That was the only notable thing that I wrote down. This was very, very funny. But yeah, it was very good that this stream was super exciting, getting a world record. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day and good luck with your own streaks.